Hello and good evening. This is MX24 News, broadcasting live from our studios at number 7 Oleander Street, East Legon, Accra. In the next 30 minutes, we'll serve you with news stories making the rounds here in Ghana and around the world. My name is Emefa Adeti. Please stay. Many thanks for joining us. Now, first on our story, some hawkers at Joli Junction off the Tamamoto Wayla Pass stretch of the Greater Accra region are lamenting on the low patronage of their goods, despite the government's consistent assurance of steering the country back on the path of economic recovery after securing a deal with the International Monetary Fund. Many of the traders are wondering why the wholesale prices of their goods remain at an all-high time despite claims by the government of stabilizing the performance of Ghana cedis against the major trading currencies, especially the US dollar, which many believed was the cause of high cost of goods and services. Here's more.
In our interaction with some of these hawkers, they revealed that the prices of their products remain unchanged at the wholesale centers despite the supposed stabilization of the cedi. Some say it has been difficult for them to make profits from the goods they sell and cater for themselves as well as their families. Hawkers of beverages and bottled water say the recent hikes in production costs has increased the prices of their products, causing people to opt for sachet water instead of the bottled water.
As for today, things are not really moving well because it seems like there is no money in the system. Me, for instance, I've been working somewhere, but because of the pay, you work, because they will even give you something little. When they said the income is not, the pay is like, the money, what they gain is not that much, so there is no way they can pay you more than what they are paying. So you have to leave and come and stand on the street. Standing on the street too is very, very difficult. All throughout the day you work, but nothing to talk home about. Like since morning I've came, I didn't even sell up to 100 cedis because they are not buying. They only will be watching your face.
They are therefore calling on the government to take measures to ensure that traders also feel the impact of the IMF bailouts projected to help ease the economic burden.
And see, I bang good and talk. Yes, Kawa, say a broke Ghana pan. Oh, Baba, we just see only go with the moody. Or more, a young see so. How dear young who so. Shabra, blah, blah. Catch up by so many homeless car and find your Duan Casawa.
Focusing on education now, education think tank Africa Education Watch is urging school authorities to take more effort in understanding the situations of students when they request for exit. This, according to the Senior Programs Manager of Education, EduWatch, will help teachers verify reasons students give when asking for permission to be excused from school. Speaking with MX24 News on the back of the death of a 6th student of St. Monica's SHS, who was allegedly denied exit, purportedly leading to her untimely demise, Divine Pair encouraged management to put measures in place to help them relate better with students to prevent such situations from reoccurring. Now, still on education, Dean of the School of Engineering at the University of Ghana, Professor Emefa Adeti, is calling on private sector to support Ghana's tertiary institutions by providing them with the needed resources to train. This will help contribute to the country's socio-economic development. According to the professor, more investment is needed in the academic sector to bridge the gap between schooling and employment. She's speaking during an industry roundtable discussion on the transition from school to work organized by a non-profit organization, Education Sub-Sahara Africa.
We need to sit down first of all and set some targets for ourselves. As was mentioned, how many professionals in the various disciplines do we need? Who is monitoring to make sure that we are producing the right caliber of people to go out into our industries? Do we have targets? To what level are we supposed to train them? What are the skills and competencies that they are supposed to have before we even graduate them? And how much will it cost to deliver on this? Let's be realistic about it. Where I teach, I am an engineering professor. I teach engineering. I need resources. If the students are not able to pay realistic fees for me to acquire those resources, somebody must provide those. I don't expect that government will be able to do everything. The demands on government are too much. But sometimes private people should be able to invest because they understand what we are doing and that they see the need for us to produce people who are actually able to solve problems.
Now, still on engineering, President of the Ghana Institute of Engineering, Kwabena Bempon, has urged members of the institution to be ethical and exude professionalism in their jobs operations. Now, speaking during the 38th induction of ceremony of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, which inducted some 207 engineering professionals earlier today, Mr. Bempon noted that these attributes will enable members contribute positively to support the growth of the economy.
We have come a long way as an institution of inducting members into our noble profession. However, I believe that there is more to it than just becoming a member of this great institution. Our induction today must not be a matter of ticking the box in your professional career development, but must start a journey of contributing positively to your calling as an engineer.
Now, the Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Insia Asare, has assured that all Agenda 111 projects across the country will be completed by 2024. According to him, allegations purporting that some projects have been stalled are untrue, noting that all controversies surrounding some of the projects are being resolved. He therefore urged Ghanaians to be confident in government to deliver on their mandate. Dr. Insia Asare was speaking at the Minister's press briefing on updates on Agenda 111 projects across the country at Thursday in the Ashanti region.
There were advantages and disadvantages. The hospital the management of the hospital. Also, you heard that, and I heard that. I has a lift here, and I has a lift. I say, if a patient that can lift in your name. As I see what here, Oko district see the hospital here, and I will call inside. I will a space we inside. The free be healing. And also a bois can say my say. Unam hospital, I say unam fee. Hospital, yes, there be an outdam passo. spaces were inside that obi oyare bia na ho aton kakra ebetimi abe nante ho ne ade apart from physiotherapy ne gym ne bibia wo mu eno ntina designers ne yes e benya asase no a ke enye ne nyina de ntia single stack no na obia nye hospital a uwura ho a eho mon from afa ho bibia ho bia e friend healing apart from say doctor ehwe wo no uhia sa healing no but baby enya problems asase ho odente say metropolitan area te say Kumasi and any Accra no eno na you decide later on say any yenye na brosa eno na ama obi busa say completion period 18 months ISA no obi to ka say obi we 18 months but who say when your slight problem e will land issue it also we new drawing tini aye new drawings new architectural drawings e be ma one eno kra abosamba akose bia left no kosoro na aba from.
Meanwhile, speaking to journalists on the sidelines, Minister for Information Kojo Nkrumah revealed that about 88 of the projects are currently ongoing and are expected to be completed within a period of 18 months after construction works begin.
The project targets 111 projects. The brief I have is that 88 are currently under construction. It's grouped into 8 zones. In those 8 zones, you will find 54 projects. We have visited 33 sites so far, and we thought that today, coming to Trede, which is where it all began, it's important to showcase from Trede all that has gone on so far. We have also provided you with the reports of the sites that we have visited so far. The majority of them that are doing well, the few of them that are behind schedule. We've also updated you on the ones we've had to terminate because they are behind schedule. And so our expectation is that as we go along throughout the rest of this year, visiting all of these 88 sites that are already, experiencing work, you will help us let the nation know that Agenda 111 is happening. I think as was mentioned, the expectation was to finish within 18 months of commencement of work. So whenever anybody started work, the view was that within 18 months they were supposed to be done with it. It's nearly 2 years. You see the progress of work so far. Like here, I think it's above 60% or so. They have explained the challenges that they have had, some of which have been addressed. And we continue to go along with the expectation that we will be able to complete these projects within the districts so that they can serve the people and serve them well.
Now, still on health, available service data indicates that non-communicable diseases have been on the rise, constituting to over 43% of the cause of death in Ghana over the last decade. This was reviewed by the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Boaji, at the Joseph S. Ejapong Distinguished Lecture on Public Health held at the University of Ghana, Legon. Now, this year's public lecture is the 4th edition, and it focuses on combating non-communicable diseases as the greatest threat to the health sector in Africa. Speaking as chairman of the event, Dr. Boaji noted that NCDs such as cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, cancer, chronic respiratory diseases, and mental health disorder have been documented to be on the rise, with the number of patients diagnosed with hypertension increased by 12% in 2020. He attributed the rise in trend to inadequate healthcare facilities, poor healthcare seeking behavior of the citizenry, among others.
Non-communicable diseases have over the past decade posed a significant burden, contributing to more than 43% of all-cause mortality. Priority NCDs such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancers, chronic respiratory disease, and mental health disorders have been documented to be on the rise. Available service data shows the number of patients diagnosed with hypertension to have increased by almost 12%, from 172,000 plus to 193,000 in 2022, while the number of new cancers recorded in 2022 increased by 50%, from an estimated 16,000 in 2016 to 24,000 in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, these conservative statistics do not only depict the increasing trend and burden of NCD, but they also represent the myriad of challenges, such as the poor health-seeking behavior of the citizenry, especially men, limited resources, inadequate healthcare infrastructure, and the overall cost of management associated with non-communicable diseases. To address these challenges, I, incidentally, in my role as the Director General of Ghana Health Service, lead multiple teams to try to change the narrative towards prevention and early detection, where the foundation of our health system, that's the primary health care, is being empowered through the network of parties to support secondary and tertiary levels of care in the prevention, detection, and management of non-communicable diseases.
The fourth edition of the Joseph S. Ejapon Distinguished Lecture on Public Health is part of activities lined up for the 75th anniversary celebration of the University of Ghana. Chairperson of the 75th Anniversary Planning Committee, Professor Akosua Dubakwampafo, sees the opportunity to call on all stakeholders to intensify efforts to get taxes on sanitary products scrapped in order to prevent ladies from getting infections during their periods.
There are some very influential people in this room, and so I cannot let this opportunity go by. There was an NCD that was not mentioned, and for young women and girls above a certain age and younger than me, 5 to 8 days every month, they have something that compels them to use a sanitary towel, but if they do not get enough, they can get an infection. And so I am here to plead with those who have the power, IMPs, to both remove the taxes from the sanitary towels that we import, as well as the taxes for the people who make them locally, so that our young women and girls, who are more than half of the population, and at least half of those have their period, will not need to suffer from these infections.
Away from health, now convener of the Fisheries Alliance, a non-governmental agency focused on responsible fishing, J. Kwajo Yamwa, is calling for measures to be put in place by the government to cap the number of fishers who go to sea to prevent the over-exploitation of the country's fish stock. He says if the level of exploitation is not checked, Ghana's fisheries stock sector will be destroyed to a level that cannot be revamped. Kwajo Yamwa, who was speaking exclusively to MX24 News, further called on the government to institute alternative livelihood measures for fishing communities to attract more locals into the industry.
Also, the measures of moratorium, capping the number of canoes and vessels fishing, and even to the extent of going further to reduce them to levels that can sustainably exploit the fisheries resources is very important. So we must be looking at measures of capping and measures of reducing the number of fishers going to sea, because the fish stock is overexploited. And when you have a system that is overexploited and you don't cap or you don't reduce the level of exploitation, then the fish stock will be reduced to a level that it cannot rebound. And that is what we all want to avoid. And the close season is the beginning of the process. The additional process include the enforcement of the fisheries laws and the voluntary compliance to the laws, also capping the number of vessels fishing and also reducing it, and then putting in place other sustainable livelihoods that fisher folks can move from fishing and then be attracted to, because when you go to the fishing areas, you see a lot of the youth also aspire to become fishermen, but the fish itself they depend on is finishing. So we must begin to look at what can we do to attract them economically, because people go to fish because that is where they will get their daily livelihood, and they fish because they want food. So we must look at how we can address these two things, providing food security by other sources and also ensuring that we have sustainable livelihood that can attract the multitude of youth who are in the fishing communities. If we are able to do this sustainably, then we can ensure that our fisheries sector would have the space to allow the fish stock to rebound. When the fish stock rebounds, that is where the service that our fish provide for us, including the food, including the employment, including the foreign exchange and others, we can appreciate it better.
Now again, Kwajo Yamwa also called for a collaborative approach in finding measures to ensure that children in fishing communities are protected from child labor and trafficking.
Associated with trafficking of children, where children in fishing communities, because they are used to swimming, they are now trafficked to other areas like the Volta Lake and others, and now sold off or given to other fishers who use them and exploit their labor. They are not paid, they are treated badly, which is a human rights issue, and then they are used in ways that is dangerous and affects their health, affects their well-being, and affects their growth. This is illegal, this is criminal, and this should not be allowed. So any form of child labor in the fisheries communities and even child trafficking must be avoided. And this required all stakeholders to be part of the solution. We need to educate, sensitize. We also need community leaders to also monitor which families are giving their children out. We need enforcement agencies, the immigration, the marine police, and others, the human trafficking unit, assembly, and the security services to also monitor child labor and child trafficking in the fishing areas to ensure that we are able to give children from fishing communities who are used for child labor better future and better option. So we need the enforcement and deterrence, we need a communication and awareness creation, and then we also need the social movement that would make child labor and child trafficking socially unacceptable.
An Accra High Court has adjourned the application for a stay of proceedings filed by the Member of Parliament-elect for Asin North, James Jachikwesing, on the ongoing criminal trial involving him. Lawyers of the legislator argue that the application is to stay proceedings in the High Court so that the Court of Appeal can determine whether or not the High Court was right to rule that Jachikwesing's criminal trial be heard on a daily basis. But the trial judge, Justice Mary Yanzwa, says the adjournment was because the court had not received the full complements of the application document. Here's Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress, Sami Jenfi.
And the President of the Republic should be interested in justice, not in jailing people at all costs, whether or not they are innocent or they are guilty. But so far, from their commentary, their body language, from their actions, it appears very clearly that they are not interested in the truth, they are not interested in justice, but they are interested in rewriting this whole trial, fast forwarding everything so that they can jail an innocent man. And the public should be rest assured that the National Democratic Congress, lawyers for Honorable Kwesing, we're standing firm by the truth. We are resolute. We want to insist on the right thing being done. The lawyers for Honorable Kwesing have also cited prejudicial comments by the Attorney General and Minister for Justice and other leading members of the New Patriotic Party. I'm sure those of you in the media are very much aware of some of these irresponsible and prejudicial comments, which suggest that our friends in government have a certain predetermined outcome in their mind, which they are working at. And therefore, it is important for the trial to proceed in a manner that assures the accused and his lawyers that he will get a fair trial.
The Bank of Ghana has taken strict action against Fidelity Bank and First National Bank Ghana Limited, imposing a combined penalty of 1,000 penalty points each. The penalties have been levied due to the bank's breach of sections 3, 4, 3, 5, and 9 and 3.9 of the Ghana Interbank Forest Market Conduct Rules. Now, the central bank, in a statement, cautioned forex market players to adhere strictly to the applicable forex market regulations and guidelines. Excerpts of the statement read, "By this notice, we caution forex market players, including banks, forex bureaus, forex brokers, and money transfer operators, to adhere strictly to the applicable forex market regulations and guidelines." The United States government, through the U.S. Agency for International Development and the United Nations World Food Program, has launched a one-year program in Ghana to provide support to farmers during the lean season, valued at $7 million USD. Farmer support activity targets at assisting 17,000 vulnerable farmers, mainly in the northern part of the country, and provide them each with $3,500 to help them in their crop planting and cultivating. Speaking at the launch of the program, Deputy Minister for Agriculture, Yao Frimpong Ado, urged farmers to use the funds solely for productivity and not for their pockets.
There are several other households who were not lucky to have been part of this program. So those of you who have been selected, I will call the lucky ones. You need to prove to the donors, our development partners, that this money is not for your pocket or your purse or your wallet. It is for productivity. And just as they said, you observe the strong team here. The M&E team is so strong with those people with financial background. They are going to monitor you from penny to penny. And if you don't account for it, you may be in trouble. We cannot shield you because we want you to use the money to deliver what you have to deliver.
Now, on the international front, according to U.S. Coast Guard Marine Board, presumed human remains have been found within the wreckage of the Titan submersible. Pieces from the sub, which imploded on a deep dive to the Titanic, were unloaded in the Officials say the sub's landing frame and a wreck cover were found among the debris. U.S. medical professional will conduct a formal analysis of presumed remains, the Coast Guard said in a statement. The agency is in the early stages of an investigation into the causes of the disaster. The Coast Guard Marine Board will investigate, which will transport the evidence to a U.S. port for further analysis and testing. All 5 people on board the vessel died on 18th day of June after it imploded about 19 minutes.
Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest Brooklyn Pen stories now. Experience more.
To a deal signed, England midfielder Mason Mount from Chelsea on a 5-year contract for €55 million plus €5 million and add-ons. Mount 24 will be Eric Tan.
MX24 Online. Visit mx24online.com today. MX24. Fun, fearless, and factual. Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest Broken Pen stories now. Experience more of MX24 Online. Visit mx24online.com today. MX24. Fun, fearless, and factual. Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest Broken Pen stories now. Experience more of MX24 Online. Visit mx24online.com today. MX24. Fun, fearless, and factual. Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest Broken Pen stories now. Experience more of
the German international from Chelsea for €65 million. Kai Havertz
Online. Visit mx24online.com today. MX24. Fun, fearless, and factual. Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest Broken Pen stories now. Experience more of MX24 Online. Visit mx24online.com today. MX24. Fun, fearless, and factual. Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest Broken Pen stories now. Experience more of MX24 Online. Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, up-to-the-minute sports updates, and the latest Broken Pen stories now. Experience more of MX24 Online. Visit mx24online.com today. MX24. Fun, fearless, and factual.
Your songbird Jackie. Keep watching MX24.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Last Minute. You watching it?
Visit www.mx24online.com for news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos up to